Beloved Isles.
One beloved station, Radio Cayman.
The voice.
The heart.
The soul of the Cayman Islands.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for joining us on the terrific Tuesday's edition of Talk Today as we invite you to be a part of the discussion. We start things off with the good friends at DCFS. We'll talk about the foster program. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And I'm honored to be here once again, not only to highlight the excellence within the civil service, but some of our civil servants who exhibit and exude and sort of epitomize what it is to be a public servant. I'm going to ask, Miss Christine Miller to introduce her colleagues, or maybe, start with you, Miss Christine, and Lydia, and then go down with each one, have just a little intro, so that our people, put a face and a familiar smile to good things. So, Miss Christine, good afternoon, ma'am. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, Sterling. It's a pleasure to be with you again. I remember the very first time that I came. I was a bit anxious, but I think we've been doing this at least once or twice every year for the past couple of years. So the setting is very familiar, and thanks for having us. With me today is Lydia Watlin and Dermot McElney. They're two of my very small team, but very good workers, very dependable. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy to have them here with me today.
Well, I'm glad that you come, and I hope that we extend always a warm Talk Today welcome. Make you feel comfortable and invited, as if you're amongst friends.
Thank you.
It doesn't cost much to come in. Exiting may be a challenge. It's free entry. but thanks for introducing. And as we go through the discussion, we'll come to you. But tell us, we've been doing this now at least a decade, if not.
Yeah, we've been doing this for quite some time. I remember from before 2018. So we've been doing this for quite some time.
I like how you say that. I joke and jest, not to cut you, but before 2018, because we know that 20 and 21 is long centuries. So it feels like a long time.
No, I remember 2018 because then 2018 I was with a different teams. I have been moving around. So my visit with you over the years has been talking to you about different teamwork as such.
I was teasing you. Gotta be cool.
Sure.
All right. So, what is the foster program? That's our discussion today.
That's our discussion for today.
Okay. Let me change my notes. No to government initiative. No, sorry.
So within the department, we have my role is that of foster care, adoptions, and aftercare manager. Our foster care program is a very important program to the department, and it helps to serve the other teams. All right, the family team who will refer clients to us, request for placements for children, or sometimes the MASH child safeguarding based on any emergencies that they might have. So what we do is we have foster parents who apply, indicate an interest, and apply to become foster parents. There's a procedure that they would have to go through in terms of doing an application. They're required to provide a number of different documents, the police records, different things to show that they meet our requirements. And then a social worker is assigned to meet with them, to do interviews, to do assessments, to assess the home, and so on, to make sure that they comply with all the requirements that we have. A person who is applying to be a foster parent has to be ages 18 and beyond, at least 18.
To 65.
18
so there is that
there's
that
an
cap
age, yes.
is 65.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there anything else, Lydia, you want to add?
Sure.
Yes, Lydia.
So, in order to become a foster parent, again, as Ms. Christine said, you have to meet a number of eligibility requirements, and one of that is the age. So you have to be between 18 and 65. You can be any immigration status, so you can be resident on island with whatever that immigration status is, or Caymanian. And then, as long as there's not anything that in your health that prevents you from being able to look after the welfare of another child, being able to look after another child, then you kind of meet the basic criteria
So
to
single
apply to us. And you can be single or married, yep.
And it's important too that the applicant does not have a child within our foster care program.
Okay, yeah, I guess. Thanks for clarifying that, because we think that would,
It would seem obvious, but
but yeah,
this is important for us to mention.
Yeah, so there's a cap, really, for the number of children that foster parents can have in their home. So they can have 3 children in foster care in their care, and then if there's identified a need to go beyond that 3, then it has to be assessed case by case.
So presumably, and I can see the financial, but also even the logistical consideration, space and all the other things, why there would be a cap. But presumably, if there was, say, a family, siblings of 3+, then that one home could take the 4 or 5 children, then that might be better than if it's appropriate.
Yeah, and we do try keep where there are sibling groups in need of foster parents. We do our endeavor best to keep them together. Regrettably, it's not always possible because we are in, I would say, dire need of people who are interested to apply to our department to become foster parents.
Right. As you shared, 18 to 65 is the age of the foster parent. But what about the ages of the children? Up from what age to what age?
Well, it goes without saying, crisis happens within family, and age is no respecter of the need. And so from birth, young, 0, right up to 18, to 17 plus 18.
Yeah, 17 years, 11 months.
Once they're in our care and they exit foster care, then that is when we will look at aftercare.
Yeah, and I won't ask for it now. It was just something that I was having a discussion again earlier with someone. We know age majority is at 18. For some 18-year-olds, they're just finishing high school, or they're still, entering university, and still a teenager, okay, an adult by law in this jurisdiction, but it's still somebody's child. And someone shared something that as a society, maybe we need to revisit. What do we do for that 18-year-old to maybe 22-year-old who is still a young adult, still in need of guidance and nurturing and love and care and stuff, but they're not able to be legally fostered. They're an adult. You're a big boy, no? You're on your own legally.
I will, not to veer away from our focus of foster care, but I will just say the fact that you mentioned that is, among other things, what our team is looking at. We do have an aftercare program for those youngsters 18 and older who have exited foster care. So we are now looking at expanding that program. And we offer accommodation for those who would need it if they can't go back to their original family. We offer some financial assistance for their care and keep and so on. And our aim is to ensure that they get the support they need either to complete educational programs. So they have to be in an institution pursuing education, or to be working with a full-time, part-time, and if not, we encourage volunteering.
Okay. When we come back from the break, can we continue the discussion? Tell us more about the foster care program. How do we apply? What is the eligibility and the like? And maybe we get a few applicants to at least understand what it's like. And is it something that, once in, you're always in? Can you try it out? Is there a partnership so that you get a little bit of, forget the term, a little hand-holding, a little bit of nurturing and mentoring as you go along? Tell us a little bit more about the program. Would that be fine?
Sure.
All right, we're going to pause and take a break. Invite you to join us after. And then at 1 to 1:30, we do have some open lines. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Breitling watches are defined by quality, innovation, and style. And you have the chance to win one in August during Kirk Freeport's 50th anniversary sweepstakes. Each month, lucky shoppers have the chance to win a piece of jewelry or a watch from luxury brands. Every purchase of $100 at any Kirk Freeport store gains you entry into the monthly drawing. So stop in today. Next up, September's prize is the Chopard Happy Dreams bracelet. View terms and conditions on KirkFreeport.com.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Did you know you must ensure all utensils are washed with detergent and rinsed with hot water if they make contact with flood water? For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Register. Get your clues. Start your engines. Find the answers. The Rotary Central Gumball Car Rally is back. Exciting questions, exciting answers, exciting prizes for rally car theme, rally preparation, rally spirit, gumball rally accuracy, and more. Same day registration, 11:30 a.m. Start line Cricket Square. Start time 12:30 p.m. Saturday, September 17th. Find Gumball Rally finish line and win. Space is limited. Pre-register now. Only $125 per entry. Up to 4 persons per rally car. Email rotarycentralky@gmail.com. The Rotary Central Gumball Car Rally. A fun event, not a race event. Rotary. All the good you imagine.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. And thanks for joining us as we talk to our friends at DCFS. And we're speaking specifically about the foster program. We have Ms. Christine, Lydia, and Emmett joining us. And, you know, it is something to... I heard this once a long time ago, and I heard it many times. You know, there's no greater love than to love someone else's child as if your own. And we have many thankful who give of ourselves in a very untiring, just giving, loving way. But Ms. Christine, as we get into sort of the call for fostering, what's the criteria? You talked about the age and the like, but how do we qualify? How do we apply?
Well, we do have an application form that the applicant would complete. And then there are other documentation that we would require, like, as I said, the police record. We would do the interviews to get a feel for this person, and we would also do the home visits to see their accommodation, if it is suitable, if they have the space for the children, and also get a feel for what age group because we match the children as far as possible, what age group that particular applicant would be most comfortable working with, opening their home to. Once that is completed, then we also reach out to the environmental department for them to do some checks, and the fire brigade as well. So we do a thorough check of the applicant and their home. Yes, and then based on that, a decision is made as to if this person would qualify to become a foster parent.
Okay.
So initially, to add to, in addition to what Ms. Christine has said, if somebody wants to become a foster parent, so you would need to call the department, you'd need to call the department, reach out to the department, ask to speak with someone on the foster care and adoption team. We would then speak over the phone about sort of like general eligibility, like, do you meet it? Are you between 18 and 65? Are you single? Are you married? And all the stuff we sort of previously touched on. And then if we realize like this is something that can move forward because you've met this sort of basic criteria, you would schedule, come in, speak with someone on the foster care and adoption team. We would look over the application, walk you through it, show you how it needs to be done. And then part of that application that you get from us is, different required documents like your police clearance and your job letter. And then you come back and meet with us, give us your application. And then the process kickstarts going into what Ms. Chris talked about, us going out and doing an assessment, doing the home visits, getting the Department of Environment to check that things are okay, fire department, and so on, matching the child. But that assessment has to be complete and done, handed back to the department, and then is reviewed by the manager to then see, are we able to move forward with this person's request to become a foster parent? What is the assessment indicating? What are we seeing? Can we move forward?
And I must say that with all that procedure that we go through, the standard is very high because we're mindful that what we're looking to do is to take somebody else's child and place in your care. So the standard has to be very high. In everything I do, Sterling, I will tell you, one of the questions I like to ask or to talk about is expectations. I like to ask what it is you expect from us as a department, and I like to say what it is I expect from you as an applicant or as a foster parent.
That's good. Managing those expectations, but also understanding that there's a standard of excellence as well.
That's true.
Then from that perspective then, when we look at it, there's growing need in our society for all facets. I think when it comes to our children, even more so that we are there. Tell us what the program means. How does it work?
I think coming off what Christine had said earlier about there is a dire need for foster carers in the Cayman Islands, and the reason I guess for that is that as much as we would like children to be at home with their families, unfortunately that's not possible for some children. And we've had the establishment of the MASH desk and the safeguarding team. I'm sure they've been here before chatting about what they do. And with the establishment of that and with our partner agencies, we've seen an increase in the number of referrals that come through there, and what that means for us is that there's an increased likelihood of more children entering care, which it's not a bad thing that people are reporting these issues to DCFS, but it does put the pressure on what's already a really valuable resource. So that's why we really need foster carers. It's a really rewarding thing to do. And in terms of support, there is a team of us who work with the foster carers. We give them training, guidance, support, and whatever it is that they need. Obviously, the children that might be placed with a foster care come with a range of different needs. They can be very traumatized, and some might be more resilient than others. But I think that Lydia and Christine were talking about, we'll do our best to match them with the foster care. And if there is an identified need in terms of support for those kids, then, you know, we'll reach out to our partner agencies such as the Counselling Centre or a therapeutic support agency in the community, and make sure that, you know, you feel supported in the role that you're providing.
Mm-hmm. I think this is where we draw together and recognize that it takes all of us. You talk about the partner agencies and even the, you know, additional sort of support services, the therapy and the like.
Mm-hmm.
Our children are resilient, but then they also sometimes endure a lot in those formative years. Ms. Lydia, from that perspective then, we see the need, we see your assessments, we see the involvement of the courts or other agencies. How do we as a community step up, be mindful, be respectful, but also offer up a resource? How do we get to a place where we care for the children the way we should?
You know, as that phrase that says it takes a village.
Cliche now almost.
Yes. It takes a village. And really, I have also heard that the phrase that if you're a parent, you can't be a parent for only your children. You have to be a parent for other children. I know because of how we have advanced society and so on, sometimes parents don't want anybody else to be saying anything to their child or so on. But, you know, at least if you see something, you can report it, that we can address it, you know. In terms of, what was the question?
Yeah, I was asking, because I was thinking as you were sharing, you know, and that saying now has almost become a cliche where we hear it, but it has little or no value anymore, and we do turn a blind eye. Maybe we're no longer in a space where we can draw alongside our own family, our own neighbours, because we know what's going on, and it may be more of a society where we either turn a blind eye or we report it to the authorities and we've done our job. How do we get that space where we're supporting our teachers in the schools like we did once? How are we supporting our own family members, our own communities, to see those children? You know, how many children in some evenings are just banging about after school, despite activities, or walking home in the rain and we just cross some old damn boys the afternoon, or they're out enjoying themselves, but we're chastising and castigating, not nurturing and disciplining, guiding and loving.
I would say that the social workers in the Department of Children and Family Service, they do a tremendous job. They work very long hours because there's so much that you need to address. But in terms of the foster parenting program, we do provide support for the foster parents in terms of training for them. We partner with the
Counselling Centre.
The Counselling Centre, that's right, to offer training for our foster parents in terms of different topics, you know, how to discipline, what to be mindful of, when a child is placed with you recently, what their potential experience is like. We do the developmental stages and the expectations of behaviors and so on, so that they are aware of what it is that they are seeing. And we're always receptive to receiving a call from them and giving support.
Right.
All right. So we do give the foster parent. We just don't place the children and leave them there.
There's the support.
And we check on the children to make sure that they are okay. We also visit the children in school to get a feel as to how they're managing. We have what we call the MDT meeting, which is all the therapists, teachers, and everybody who is involved in the child's life. We all come together to sit and discuss. So we have a plan. So these children who are in foster care, we have a care plan for them that address all aspects of their life.
Okay. And
Sterling as well, in addition to what Ms. Chris has said, as it relates to your question about, you know, how is it that we get the community engaged with, like, the need on the island to support our children. There's a need to support children as it relates to the children that our department come in contact with. And that, in part, is what we're doing here today, which we really appreciate the space you've given us for, to be able to talk about it, to be able to bring up what Dermot has said, that we need this. You know, we need people who can help support the children of the Cayman Islands. We offer a public service as mandated by the law to give foster care services. And so just bringing up a general sense of awareness in the community about our need, that's I think raising awareness is it helps to engage the community because they become aware that there is a need. There is a need because some people may not know that there is a need to support.
I think that's true, and I think that we're aiming to be more visible in the community with a lot more advertising, radio slots. I'm sure you've seen some on the bus shelters, so the churches and supermarkets and like. So I'm sure we'll be out there.
Yeah, and in the past, since this year, we have been to some of the clubs, like the Rotary, and we have been to some
the various service clubs.
We asked permission of the school, the guidance counselors, to address the parent-teachers meeting when they have those and so on. So we try to reach out through different means.
So when we come back from the break, can we then just revisit the notion of, the fact that the children in foster care, two things, they may or may not be there for an extended period, but they interact with the wider community through the schools with their own children. So we want to ensure that there is that sense of respect and understanding, and as much as possible, take away any stigma, any sort of opportunity for the children to feel excluded. And then with that, you've stated a number of times, there is a growing need. I'll use the words a dire need for more foster. What sort of deficit? Do you need 100 more? Is it only 5 more? Is it almost innumerable? So that people appreciate that there's a lot. I say that recognizing that you've referenced, Ms. Christine, the service clubs. They have programs. We have individuals who do mentoring, who sign up for, Big Brothers Big Sisters, for argument's sake, or other programming to offer themselves up to some children. What more can we do, and how can we get involved? All right, let's talk about it when we come back for a few minutes. All right, stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office. Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
Superior Auto is pleased to announce the grand reopening of the new Superior Auto Apprenticeship Center on Seymour Drive. New opportunities, new beginnings, a new home for Caymanian youth seeking career training and certification in high-demand trades such as automotive repair, AC, refrigeration, and so much more. Put the value in your pocket. Fun fact, the average hourly rate for a tradesman can be 4.5 times the minimum wage. The Superior Auto Apprenticeship Center is a not-for-profit program. Contact 949-9570 or 525-9571 to apply today. The Superior Auto Apprenticeship Center, successfully building the next generation of hardworking Caymanians since 2010.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks very much. And I really appreciate the excellent work, within the government agencies as we talk about, the foster program. Perhaps, you may accept this as an invitation to check it out if you are fostering or have. If it's okay, can I say thanks? It's a lot, added on many and who take up the mantle. It's very good. So, Miss Christine, to you, Lydia, and Diamond, thanks very much. But I was asking as we went into the break, what is sort of the need? Sometimes, there's a fundraising goal, and they say, we've only $500 left to meet that goal. And for some, that may be $5 million, but they're trying to get it because they've identified it. In this instance, do we have sort of, perspectively, what sort of added numbers that would help to bolster the fold?
At this point in time, I wouldn't put a cap on it.
No.
Earlier
Well
this
said.
year, no, because we keep the placements small, all right, as far as possible. So the children are experiencing a family life, and our expectations with that is that it is a quality. They're our children. Once they are placed either by being before the court and on a court order. That's how we place them. Or where the parents come to us and based on their particular situation, and if we have concerns for the child, it can be a voluntary placement. But then also we have what you call where a child is taken into police protection. That is where a police is involved in some situation within a home setting, and they see where the child is at risk of harm, and so they can remove that child and put it temporarily into protection, and that is where we come into play with that already as well, to regularize that and so on. So in terms of the foster parenting, it don't have to be that you're applying to take on a child, say from 3 to 18 or 3 to 17. Sometimes there are parents who need a respite. They have their health issues or some difficulty, and they're very exhausted, and they just need a breather. So children could be placed in foster care just temporarily for a week or two. All right, to give that parent or the foster parent a breather. And then we have the emergency placement, and we do have 1 or 2 foster parents who stipulates that I'm prepared to help, but I only want to be able to take children when you have an emergency. So that is a short-term situation as well. And then, of course, the regular situation where they're prepared to take the child and have them for a period of time.
And so again, go ahead, Dee.
Yeah, I think as well, in terms of like the personalities of the children that are coming through, it's always good to have a good wide variety of foster carers available to be able to best place those children in a setting that's going to really meet their needs. I wouldn't put a cap on it either. Like Christine says, we really do need more. I think a big shout out to our foster carers who we've got at the minute. They are doing an amazing job. An admirable job, and it's obviously very rewarding to become a foster carer. So yeah, I think the more the merrier, for sure.
The more the merrier. Yeah, and so then again, to recap the types of foster care we have. So if you become a foster parent, there are different options that you can put into that initial request as it relates to what type of fostering you want to do. So you have what's called respite care. So that's like, okay, a child's in care already, and they're with a foster, they're already in care with another foster parent, and you want to be a foster parent just when that foster parent needs like a weekend. Just a weekend, and that child can go to the other foster parent. So it's a respite. And then you have emergency. So like that, there's an emergency situation, and we need to place this child with you as a foster parent, like right away. So it's not a lot of notice to you. We're going to just give you a call and say, like, this evening or in 2 hours, it's emergency. Then you have short term, which could be, a week up to 6 months is what we aim for, or long term. So, like, beyond 6 months, or even looking at more permanency, which means this child would be with you always, with maybe the aim of adoption if they can't go back to their family home. To just add to that, the whole idea in foster care is it's a last resort thing, because we always want families, of course, to remain united and together, and we want to go through that reunification if it's possible. So if a kid goes into foster care, we're not trying to keep them in foster care. We're trying to provide services to their family of birth, their family of origin, to try to help stabilize and help that family overcome whatever that challenge is that they're facing, because that's why kids have to get out of homes to begin with. Because there's a challenge in the family, and sometimes that challenge results in abuse or neglect of the children. There's some coping, and they're trying to figure it out, and sometimes it doesn't work, and then the kids get abused or neglected, right? So the kids have to go into foster care, or maybe there's a long-term health issue with a family, and they're in the hospital for an extended period of time with nobody else to look after their kid or children. So then they need foster care services.
Yeah, that additional support.
And I think that's an important point, actually, Lydia, and I think it's important to say as well that if you do become a foster care, any child that's placed with you will come with a comprehensive care plan that Christine mentioned earlier, which will address all these needs that Lydia is talking about. So it's not that they're going to be with you forever. We're working to try and make things better.
You're on your own. Yeah.
You're not on your own either,
Yeah, and so every foster parent, on that note, is assigned a social worker, because every child who enters foster care has a social worker. So that means that foster parent family, or that one foster parent or the foster parent couple, they have a social worker who's connected to that child, who's there to support the foster parent with whatever it may be. So again, to speak to your point, you're not just on your own, and then all of a sudden, I mean, we want you to be the parent, so you would do whatever the parent does, the day-to-day needs and so on, and then we would assist with a small stipend, and we would assist with
other services
related to the children's needs.
Yeah, and I would want to say too as well that more often than not, there's a lot of intervention that takes place with the child and the family, the birth family, before we get to that place of foster parenting. And once the child is placed in foster care, we continue with that, because we start looking at reunification somewhere down the line.
Okay. I'm told we have a caller want to ask or a question or pose a comment. I invite you to put on the fresh and sanitized headsets. They look so cool. And as we go to the phones, we're talking about the foster program. Miss Christine, Lydia, and Diamond are our guests. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you today?
Okay, and good afternoon to you guys.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for calling, man. How are
you? Okay. You all speaking about adoptions, though?
No, sir.
No, not today.
Not today, but that is something we do as well. That's something that the team does, but our focus today is on foster care. But if you are interested in adopting, that again, you can call the department and ask to speak with somebody on the team, and they will answer your questions.
No, I wasn't really wanting to speak about adoption, but also if it's foster care, I guess I can ask you the same question I have. Do you allow same-sex married couples to foster care children?
Well, our laws now recognize same-sex couples, and so we cannot discriminate against that. But as I said, we do a very intensive assessment to make a determination. So I would say it depends on the circumstances of that.
Okay. And for example, if you have a young child with the same-sex couple, just say two men, and on Mother's Day, who will that child say Happy Mother's Day to? And if they're adopted with two women, on Father's Day, who will they say Happy Father's Day to? Do you all believe those types of environments are good for children?
That is not something for us to make a decision on. As I say, our laws that guides our practice recognizes same-sex within the Cayman Islands now. And so if we cannot discriminate, if it is going to be dependent upon that couple, what roles they assign to themselves once they have a child there.
Okay. Thanks very much. And I recognize the time of our discussion, but hopefully as we go forward, just kind of one quick comment from one of our listeners, and I wanted to, as I paraphrase, just quickly share a great thanks, not just to the foster parents, but to the social workers for their support. A person says, did foster temporarily, and it's not difficult. It just teaches you how to grow and love even more, and it's an experience that people should at least introduce themselves to. So I'm very grateful that this person was willing to share that the support services that they received through DCFS has been invaluable. Hopefully we can draw alongside. Ms. Christine, there's a need. Hopefully we'll respond to it.
There's definitely a need, and we're just reaching out to the community to step up and give some support.
Mm-hmm.
At least let us have a discussion. Let us answer your questions, whatever curiosity or, what you would want to be answered before you make that final decision. But I'm telling you, we do have a dire need. Earlier this year, I was told that we needed maybe somewhere in the region of about 10 to 12 foster parents.
And that's just right away. Darwin, any closing thoughts from you?
No, again, just to say that it's a very rewarding thing to do, and obviously we'd really appreciate your help, and please reach out to the team if you're interested in becoming a foster carer.
And that's to the Department of Children and Family Services, 949-0290.
All right. Well, please let us know how we can help, not just with your messaging, but the assistance, the education, and the communication.
You are listening to
a public thanks. There's a lot that you do as social workers. Maybe there's more that we as the wider community, to help to support you. Sometimes you need care as well, right? So
and just to highlight that, remember, these children eventually they become adults. And last year I was looking at the International Day of the Family, and they spoke about the purpose of the family is that the families help to maintain the equilibrium in society, and they help to prepare our next generation of leaders and human resources and so on. So we are coming together and helping these children to mold them to be our next leaders and employers and employees and so on.
Right.
So
and they're here now, so they're being impacted and affected. So how are we nurturing and ensuring? I read something last evening that if we have a world of parents who are loving, kind, and nurturing, there'll be change. The world feel better in a generation. And that's maybe something we should look at, being that kind of parent. Thank you all very much. It is with heartfelt gratitude to know that the sacrifice. I think, Ms. Christine, you said your work as social workers is every day, all day long, no days off. So hopefully we can support you as you support our communities. Thanks very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Let's pause, and when we come back, let's have some open line. Stay tuned for Dr. D.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Health Services Authority advises the public that the Cayman Islands Hospital Accident and Emergency Walk-in entrance will reopen Tuesday, August 9th, after the completion of Phase 1 of resurfacing the A&E parking lot. A&E patients can use the Seventh-day Adventist lot or 2 parking areas at the front of the hospital. Phase 2 of the resurfacing will commence Tuesday, August 9th on the next section of the A&E lot. In international news, Donald Trump has said his Florida home was raided by the FBI in a dramatic escalation of the legal investigations into the former U.S. president. In a lengthy statement on Monday evening, Mr. Trump said a large group of FBI agents were at Mar-a-Lago and Palm Beach and had broken open a safe. The search is reportedly linked to an investigation into his handling of classified and sensitive material. The FBI and the Department of Justice have not yet commented. U.S. actor Ezra Miller has been charged with burglary for allegedly breaking into a home in the state of Vermont and stealing bottles of alcohol. According to a police report, officials were alerted to a break-in on May 1st in the town of Stamford. Surveillance video led them to suspect the actor, who stars in films including the Fantastic Beasts franchise. Miller is separately facing charges of assault in Hawaii and allegations of abuse from several women. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location, ValueMed on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions for convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Back to school. Education is knowing the best back-to-school specials are at Reflections. Step into savings with up to 50% off selected footwear brands. Buy one pair and get the second pair of back-to-school shoes at 25% off. Save 50% off on all U.S. Polo handbags and backpacks. Ladies, don't miss the amazing daily deals in the clearance section on special selected women's fashions. Keep it classic with Levi jeans in a wide variety of styles and sizes from 28 to 48. And for the freshest gear, check out the new stock of Nike, Puma, Adidas, Johnny Cotton, and more. The best back-to-school savings are at Reflections. Find them on Shedden Road beside the Mango Tree. Open daily from 9 a.m. till after dark.
we'll be the coolest kids in school.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
The Cayman Islands Health Services Authority's general practice and public health clinics have relocated to Smith Road Medical Center. At the new location, you'll receive top quality care in a comfortable, modern space, enhancing your patient experience. Do you have flu-like symptoms or other non-emergent illnesses or injury? HSA's new urgent care walk-in clinic is now open at the main hospital campus. The new general practice location is for appointments only. For more information, call 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecasts, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9
But I
FM.
do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. Hit 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261 and share your thoughts with us. Again, on behalf of the Department of Children and Family Services, a special, thanks, public thanks to all those who are, fostering, nurturing, loving, and caring for our children, but especially within the foster care program. So if you're, been there, and it's, my word, sort of on a long-term, on a permanent basis, you provide that respite, that care when the family needs a little reprieve. whether you're just offering up, hey, in terms of emergency, as Ms. Lydia said, you can be called upon. Thank you very much. And for the wider community, if it's okay with you, let me say, how do we draw alongside our social workers as we would with our educators and our nurses and offer up a genuine show of love and support and kindness to them? Not that they're asking, but I was just thinking, we would sometimes for our colleague come alongside and say, here, here's a bouquet of flowers, or here's a particular little treat from our garden, whether it's the peppers or the pumpkin or a nice piece of cassava or a sweet potato. Or sometimes, we just bring them baked goods from our kitchens to show our appreciation and our thanks. Maybe we do the same as we do for our teachers at times, not just the apple, but a piece of cassava cake. Could be, if it's not inappropriate, given all of the things that we endure within the corporate setting. Offer up a massage, offer up a therapist session, not just with the trained psychologist, but a therapist session, a beauty therapist, something to give them a chance to unwind and relax and feel appreciated and loved. Things to consider. The love languages talk about the acts of service and kindness and gift giving. But if we do that for others in that holistic, very altruistic way, that it has nothing to do with anything other than, the agape love, maybe we can consider that. I do appreciate that financially things are becoming, for some dire. For others, there's a growing fear that, can they make ends meet? Not just because of increased costs, but fear of job loss and all the other things, and not mismanagement by governments or our own personal finances, but just the way things are. Economists talk about the inflation, and we see the central banks trying to, through their quantitative easing programs and otherwise, believe that they know it all, end up just messing up, individual households because they believe the greater good is better served. Maybe not. But for all that's said and done, thank you to those who offer up your love, your kindness. You open up your hearts and your hands, as well as your homes, to help others. And that, I think, is a great reward. So, for what it's worth, thank you. Maybe on the flip side of that coin, because I think it's one and the same, let's be also very mindful that there are egregious behaviors in our society that we turn a blind eye to. Let's not do that, huh? All right, before we continue talking about some other things, let's take this caller. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Well, good afternoon, Dwayne, and how are you?
I am blessed. Very thankful. How about yourself?
Yeah, so am I.
Amen.
And we living in paradise. That's why so many people is trying to get you.
I hear you.
Because this is paradise. Dwayne, I need to comment or speak up about something that's going on. Caymanians is pushed aside. I was so disgusted the other day when I saw this Filipino as the deputy postmistress. During a couple of years ago, I applied for a job at the post office, just sorting the mail. I didn't even get the courtesy of them calling me back. Or saying anything to me, but you can put a third world country deputy because they got that famous Cayman name, E-Banks. No, Dwayne, it's not right. It is not right. I bet we can't go over there to their country and get a job.
But
also,
okay, go ahead. Yeah.
We gotta stop these foreigners. I know we need to have foreigners come here, but I'll never forget several years ago. I don't know if you know him. He's passed on now. All one is passed on. That Eden Cookborden was selling his house. And one foreigner down in that area, when they heard that my father, which was a big thing in the development down there, with him and his two Jamaican workers, He went to Eden Cook Borden this corner and tell Eden Cook Borden he hoped he not gonna sell his house to that black bow-legged man.
Then a very derogatory way then.
Yeah.
Mm.
And Eden Cook said he told him, because my father sat on my porch and told me this story, and he said, Eden Cook is one that we need some more Caymanians like how he was.
Mm.
Stand up. He said, if you don't want me to sell it to him, you give me the check that he bringing me today.
So it doesn't matter who it is in his eyes, we're all equal. But as you say, some people will discriminate based on, on their own malice.
My father was the one who got down in that area.
Mm-hmm.
That they got all these $1 million homes down in there.
Mm-hmm.
Him and his two Jamaica thing.
So they're working hand in hand. They're working together no matter where they're from, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I went and I applied to the post office some time ago. And they not even call me back. Sent my note that I wasn't accepted for the job. But no, and government should not be hiring these foreigners up in immigration and all that. It's because you know somebody on the board or whatever, and you can get a job. These positions should be filled, but with nothing but Caymanians.
There are many people who, and I'm looking at a quick comment from someone who talking about in some jurisdictions, the qualifications to work for a government agency are based on certain things, including nationality. But in the Cayman context, we only have so many people in the country, and there are seemingly to be a lot more jobs than there are people. Hence why there's such a large number of people within the public service, whether that's core government or the other related entities, but also on permit and subject to immigration control. So we have a lot more jobs than we have people. What do we do then when there are not enough people to fill all of the jobs that we're creating?
Dean, I not say that we don't need to hire outsiders.
No, you're not.
But
You're
if
not.
it's a Cayman, all you can hear them telling Caymanians is you're not going to experience. But yet they bring people from Timbuktu on a work permit, and the Caymanian got freedom. That is not right.
But then if that is still occurring, that's something that we probably fail to address, and it's probably falls on us to.
Well, that's all they do is address, but they don't put no action to it.
Mm-hmm.
Look when the tourism minister was campaigning about tourism, Mr. Caymanian went down one hotel the other day. A foreigner run. All I saw was foreigners. And we had to wait about 5 minutes to get a receipt.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Well, what do we do then? Okay.
The Caymanian, all you can hear them say, we got like 500 students come out of school every year between the public and the private.
Mm-hmm.
They go and apply for a job. You know what it tells them? I've experienced it. You're not going to experience.
That is something, and with great respect, Toby, a number of other callers won't take them, but thank you for that. Maybe that'll enlighten some and encourage others to discussion. Thanks for that. Let's take this other caller. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Sterling.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm not too bad, and you?
Oh, always excellent. Very thankful, always.
Yes, Sterling. The eucalyptus tree down on Shaden Road, and then the almond tree that had the accident last week at the Social Street. Follow me? Okay. Well, they're going now and put on these big yellow, I guess they're going to reflect with the car lights when cars are coming, up against them. And Sterling, to think of them at this present time going to put these big yellow reflector signs by this eucalyptus tree and this almond tree up on Southshore Street. You know which one I'm talking about, right? I have to go into details.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yes, okay. So what I'm trying to say is, Sterling, the almond tree has always had some piece of itself in the road. The tree serves no purpose. It's been there for a long time. I think from I know myself I was there. You know, I don't want to how old I am. And then the eucalyptus has been there from I know myself. I'm not going to tell you my age again. But Sterling, you know, we could remove the Guinea tree from Cayman National Bank some years ago and disturb the bird nest. The birds that were living in that tree when night come, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now we had a serious situation last week with this almond tree and eucalyptus tree. That is just a matter of time, as far as I'm concerned, and God forgive me for saying it, and I hope nothing else will happen. But something needs to be done about the eucalyptus tree over one of our main streets that takes us going east. We call it coming south.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So putting up these yellow reflectors there, they're just yellow, nothing on it. I don't know if they're just temporary, or they're going to move these things, or it's going to stay there to see these things and continue to ride across these things and praying that you'll make it safe across.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But that's not enough. That's not enough justice a degree when it comes to the almond tree side I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was in two government entities just this week here. And not a lot of people, staff had to pick their voice talking about this Cayman. You know, Sterling, when we fall here in Cayman, it's a big rejoice. And people just blabber their mouths and don't care who hears them. But when something that not in their vocabulary or in their spirit at that present time, you're this and you're that. But the way that they're just so broadly with their conversation in a government building that people walking in there can hear the conversation, I think that's very unbecoming. You know, because we all live here, we all human. And if we can downgrade someone, we should be careful how we talk about an individual because we don't know who's family, who know who from who don't know who. You know what I mean? And this thing about jobs to Caymanians, one of the places I was in yesterday, the first thing young lady thing out, I'm a Caymanian, so let me need to just stigma off of us. Because I'm saying that we're Caymanian, not getting us no good degree. And we got that on the tip of our tongue before we try to ask a decent question. We say, I'm a Caymanian. Is this available for me? No, that's not how we go about it. We got to be careful how we conduct ourselves, and sometimes our own mouth will make us get where we want to get. And then we blame the foreigners. I know we have to make, we will need people come here to work, but a lot of Caymanians, I don't know what's wrong. There was a big job offer just a couple of weeks ago, and nobody applied at this particular place. I had 3 positions open, and not one Caymanian applied to it. Not one Caymanian.
Mm-hmm.
So where the Caymanians are for these jobs, I don't know, but we need to stop saying where the job for Caymanians. The people who want a job as a Caymanian, they need to get out with their pen and paper and walk and talk.
Mm-hmm.
Walk and talk.
That's right.
Only how we're going to get a job.
Okay.
And I'm going to let you go, but I want to give one shout out to the water authority guys that came out last week and fixed my water meter. They had to raise it up to a certain height because of my yard being filled. So anyhow, I just want to take my hat off to those 4 young men who came out here last week and did a very excellent job in my yard.
Okay.
I was very particular how my yard was going to look after they finished, but they guaranteed me it was going to be just how they found it, and believe me, they did a good job. So to water authority guys, I take my hat off to them.
Right.
And I want to talk about water authority another time besides these 4 guys that did a great job in my yard.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Sterling.
You're most welcome.
You want to say something?
No. I just want to thank you for commending them and, applauding them publicly. So that's good, Thank you, and glad they did a good job. All right, cool. Bye-bye. Let's see if we can take a couple more calls. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. All right. And it is open line till 1:30, and then we have some guests. 949-8037 or flow toll-free call at 1-800-534-8255. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Mr. Sterling.
Hey, how are you, sir?
I don't know. I'll find out from you.
Well, let's see what we can do.
First of all, I want to agree with the lady that called in a while ago about the post office, because I knew other people that applied to the post office and they didn't call them back. So she was lucky, she was blessed. She got a reply that they tell her that she didn't get the job. But that is what's happening now in most of the with the jobs for Caymanians. You got to do sometimes things that you don't want to do to get a job as a Caymanian. And my good friend that just got off the phone there, she said that you got Caymanian to get out there. It don't work that way. And she know better too, but she putting it nice. She putting it nice. It is, they don't want that. The first thing they tell you experience, and I done express this many times years ago. When we used to go to work, the people would say, come in the morning, let me see what you can do. That was your experience. Nowadays, those jobs are already designed for certain people in the island, and that's not going to change until the government change the system, because they got lazy people all over the world. But then they got a lot of ambitious Caymanians that want to work and cannot get a job. About the eucalyptus tree. The eucalyptus tree on Shaden Road is almost 100 years old. I remember Mr. Walton Miles, Mr. Alan Miles' father, he said planted that tree there. And them roots is going all across the road. Big roots all across the road. The day that goes down, the whole road going to be torn to pieces, because those roots are going all across the road. But that eucalyptus tree very strong. And you know, it's funny that all these years, no car hit that. Because that one, they're not going to hit and run, you know. They're going to stay there. Because that eucalyptus tree very strong. But Mr. Sterling, the work system in Cayman is very, very, very bad. Because I'm understanding right now that every week, sometimes 60, sometimes 70, 80 PR are being issued to people from outside of this country. We are importing poverty in this country. I don't have nothing against expats, because if once expat, the island wouldn't been built up the way it's been built up. But every week, I understand, every Thursday, permanent residence is being given to people, over 100 sometimes, 50, 30. You know, how much people can Cayman hold? I heard my grandmother always used to tell me, don't care how big that bucket is, you keep pulling it up, one day it's going to get full up, and it's going to overflow. So I do not know what the government is doing. We just had a census, and I don't believe that census right too, because a lot of people never give no information. Trust me, a lot of people never give no information about that. So I do not know what's going to happen to Cayman. But as the old people say to Cayman, gone to hell in a bucket with a bottom. Very bad. Very bad. And the Caymanian people are suffering, you know. It's not the foreigners that come in here. Trust me, it is not the foreigners. You drive around and you see the foreigners, they're laughing and smiling. They say, wow, paradise. I went somewhere a couple weeks, months ago, and when I was coming back, the person said, wow, I've been waiting for years to come here. I'm going to heaven. And I look at them and I say, heaven? And I made a big laugh and say,
Yes,
you don't
sir.
know what heaven was, but son. I say, it's not heaven now. It's heaven for you all, but not heaven for me. Because I born and raised there. But, Mr. Sterling, all I doing is sitting back and looking because the Caymanian is pushed like how the Indians were pushed up in their reservoir in the United States. Seeing how the old Caymanians is can't get a job. How do you get experience, Mr. Sterling? Can you answer me that?
If you don't get an opportunity, right, how are you going to get it? That's an interesting question.
If you don't get the opportunity, you can't get experience. That is correct.
Mm.
And that's the excuse that these places is using to bring in their own people.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them ain't going to experience themselves. They bring them in, and like the woman say, the Caymanians got to train them.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't right. And no Caymanian should be allowed to train them, because if the Caymanian can train them, the Caymanian should be able to do the job. Am I right or wrong?
On the face of it, you would think that what you're saying would make sense, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does make sense. If I got to train you, I might as well do the job. But then they bring them in and say they got experience. It's not right. This island, I don't know. I really don't know. I am sitting back just looking on this island and saying, Lord, continue to have mercy on us. So I don't know the good Lord, because things that happen here,
yes, sir,
they can't happen in other countries. And they say those people are wild and things, but they stand up for their rights and they get their rights. So that's all I got to say today.
Right.
And here you're getting plenty of West Bay rain today. So that is good.
Thank God for that, huh?
Need rain down there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what those people say, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, I can't get no rain up this way, you know. You can't get no rain up this way.
Why is that? All right.
You know what I mean? You remember those people say.
I hear you.
Remember, make me laugh. Say it to me.
No, man. All right.
Don't do me that, man. Say it to me.
No.
You say the what?
No, you tell me.
These people need the water, right?
You don't mind. All right, so thanks again. And, well, looks like that clock says it's time to break. Susan is bringing us into land. Yeah. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Subway is giving you flavor around the clock with the new Chicken Squad sandwich options. Try the classic chicken and bacon ranch, the sweet and savory barbecue chicken, or the chicken cordon bleu. 3 new appetizing and delicious sub options that you can also make into a wrap. The Chicken Squad is available at Subway for only a limited time. Subway, giving you something to cluck about.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Register. Get your clues. Start your engines. Find the answers. The Rotary Central Gumball Car Rally is back. Exciting questions, exciting answers, exciting prizes for rally car theme, rally preparation, rally spirit, gumball rally accuracy, and more. Same day registration, 11:30 a.m. Start line Cricket Square. Start time 12:30 p.m. Saturday, September 17th. Find Gumball Rally finish line and win. Space is limited. Pre-register now. Only $125 per entry. Up to 4 persons per rally car. Email rotarycentralky@gmail.com. The Rotary Central Gumball Car Rally. A fun event, not a race event. Rotary. All the good you imagine.
Did you know that our reefs are home to over 45 different kinds of corals and more than 125 different species of fish? But an aggressive coral disease called stony coral tissue loss disease, or Skittle D, is threatening our incredible corals. Come to Coral Fest at the Westin Hotel on Wednesday, August 10th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. to learn what makes corals so important, how the UK overseas territories in the region are protecting them, and what you can do to help. There will be informational booths, games, prizes, and it's free. Coral Fest at the Westin, Wednesday, August 10th from 5:30 to 7:30
But I do
p.m.
have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. And thanks for joining us in the studio as part of our continued partnership with the Health Services Authority. Always great to be able to welcome their staff. And as we talk about, World Breastfeeding Week, chance to speak to, two of their excellent staff. Nurse Renee over in the, what's the new intensive care unit, NICU.
That's correct.
Good afternoon to you, Mom. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Okay, excellent. And Scarlett, as a midwife, as you share with women's health, sometimes we don't always appreciate how the services we offer overlap, how everything is interconnected. As we talk about breastfeeding, I'm always intrigued to learn increasingly. There's more that we can learn. There's a lot that we know that may have been passed down and we may have forgotten because things seem to change. But today, with all that we're facing, it's good to know that we have tried and true and tested resources. So as you share with us, who wants to go first? Do we say Oscar?
Yes, okay. Hi, everybody, and thank you for inviting us for this opportunity. So the reason that the program's been done this week is it's World Breastfeeding Week.
Mm-hmm.
So throughout the world there is a focus on breastfeeding. Now, so the World Breastfeeding Week is, thank you, sorry, is looked at in 120 countries throughout the world. So it was initiated by the World Alliance for Breastfeeding in 1992. So the World Breastfeeding Week aims to inform, anchor and engage and action breastfeeding related issues. So it's basically bringing the topic forward and hopefully get women and dads and families as a whole more knowledge so that they feel empowered to breastfeed their babies.
Yeah. And that's really, we see increasingly that more and more of us, not just the nursing mothers and their partners, but the wider community, not only supporting and encouraging, but there's still a bit of reticence and reservation, and maybe we can talk more about that. But every year is a theme that hopefully will engender discussion, encourage participation, and nurture the whole. So this year, is there a particular theme as normal?
Yes, actually we have a theme that we're working with for this year. This theme came through WABA, which is the World Alliance for Breastfeeding Action, and they've been behind breastfeeding since 1992. The theme for this year is Step Up for Breastfeeding, Educate and Support. And we're still educating and supporting because we're not quite at the place where we want to be. And so we're putting the message forward at every opportunity we get just to push the agenda.
Educate and support. Step Up for Breastfeed. How can us in this community do just that? Offer that support for the mothers who wish to breastfeed.
Okay, so as a midwife at HSA, I work in the Women's Health Department. So we see all the HSA antenatal patients. So there is an opportunity for the women to discuss it then. We also do a parent craft sessions, which there is a session which discusses breastfeeding the baby. So it gives sort of advice to the new parents. Once the baby is born, the care received on the maternity unit with support from the neonatal unit to the mothers and the babies to empower the women to breastfeed successfully. There's also a very good breastfeeding support group on the island, which is run by women who've breastfed their babies, women who maybe have been former neonatal nurses or midwives who are able to support the women, because we know it's sometimes it's not always easy, but with the right knowledge and education, hopefully we can get over those sort of initial hiccups, shall I say. And that's what the staff are there for.
And I think over the years, as I've had this discussion with your team, we've seen tremendous benefits to breastfeeding, to the mother as well as the child. And at some point we can talk about it. But there's not just the physical benefits. There's the the convenience and timeliness. I mean, you got your portable meal right there. But it's also the economic benefits as well. And I would not only think of the cost to acquire the food, but also the health that translates into a healthier child that down the road makes that child's cost on the healthcare system hopefully reduced because of the wonderful benefits of it. Those services that you reference in terms of the counseling and the breastcraft series, I know, for expectant parents and the like, how do we access them? I mean, when are they offered? Where are they offered and the like?
Okay, so we offer a programme of antenatal classes, and equally you can attend them after you've had your baby, because they come in sort of like different sort of sets, I suppose you could call them. So like the curriculum covers different subjects each week, but they tend to be on they're on a Monday evening at HSA. Everybody is welcome. The timings are 5:30 to 7:30, but if women or mums or dads get in touch with the Women's Health Department, we can tell you the subjects which are on each different week, because it's a rolling programme and it runs about 4 times a year. So it does cover, and it covers a range of sort of health aspects up to the age of when the child's 1.
Right. Ms. Carla, I thank you for referencing dads too, because sometimes I don't think that we as the male partners can play a supporting role. Naturally, would you help us understand? Because we're there, we can do a lot if we are informed, educated, and committed.
Absolutely. Dads definitely need to be the backbone for the moms after the baby comes. There's so much that needs to be done, and she gets overwhelmed by the fact that she's had a new baby and now she's trying to figure out how to take care of it, how to take care of herself, and then there's breastfeeding. And I always share with the families that there's some ways that dad can help around the house, help with mom, get her water, get her breastfeeding area set up so that she could just go right over. If it is that mom's exclusively pumping, dad can breastfeed. And I know they'll say the same is true for, using artificial feed, but we're promoting breastfeeding if that's what mom wants to do. Cooking the meals, cuddling baby while mom takes a nap, so baby doesn't really feel like it's left alone. Accompanying her to her prenatal or antenatal classes or her doctor's visits are a big way.
I mean, and as you said that too, the mother has fed the child. I use, and you can tell me this is correct, you brought the child has now been fed. You, as a father, you can take and do that part and help you to bond, but also give the mother a chance to, ready herself again, rest and recover and get ready for the next 5 minutes.
Exactly, yeah, very important. We all know it's a bit of a challenge when you first bring your baby home from the hospital. Yeah, you just have to support each other and get support from your friends who've been there, so you realise actually what you're going through, they've been through as well, and it's hard work, but it's normal.
It's worth it.
Yeah, and 100% worth it, yeah.
And I think all of us who've been there look at our friends who are just on that journey, and we laugh and go, "Oh, you're a new parent. How do you know?" "Oh, I don't sure. Maybe you look so haggard and sleepless." And but then there's that little joy, that little glint, and if we support each other, it'll make it that much easier. We can talk about some of the I don't want to call them problems, but the usual things that occur that may sort of delay you from trying it or may sort of put you off. But are there other sort of impediments in our society that may give people a little bit of reticence? I don't want to become a working mom. Are there things that in our society that we are probably putting in the way, either unconsciously? As an example, we've seen companies start to, not just have a broom closet, actually have a lactation room. We're seeing, restaurants willingly saying to this, the mother with a young child, "Hey, listen, if you need to, we can clear a table in the back." But even then, the patrons will say, "We're right here. Just go right ahead and do your thing," because baby has to eat as well. Helping them to feel comfortable, and it's not this weird thing. Is actually, this is now time to feed.
That's right. And that's correct. I do believe that's another area that moms need to be supported, because you're out with this baby, it's going to be hungry at some point. Moms have been covering up because they're fearful of breastfeeding or taking their young one to the restroom to breastfeed. And I mean, you're not going to have your lunch or supper in
Exactly.
the restroom. So why should the baby? And the baby is probably at a greater risk of developing an infection than when we are.
Mm-hmm.
So having that open accommodation, whether it's a feeding pod, I know some countries are putting out these feeding pods where mom can go and breastfeed their babies. Putting up a sign to say breastfeeding welcome here, so mom knows that she could just go to that particular organization or to get her baby fed.
And I appreciate you sharing that, because I think we don't mean to be insensitive, but we just are, because we're not thinking. You wouldn't take your meal into the restroom. Even if you are working adult and you're rushing, you'd probably go to the restroom, wash your hands, grab your meal and go back, but you wouldn't eat while you were in there. Why should the baby and the mother? You just wouldn't, right? And yet sometimes we don't realize how insensitive we are. But then what about the notion of, and we can perhaps talk about this when we come back from the break. I'm glad that we are a supportive society, that hopefully more and more of our mothers are not only getting the support, they're being educated as to the immediate but also long-term benefits of breastfeeding, the financial, the health, and otherwise. But are there particular, I don't want to say problems or challenges, little things that that new mother may experience when it comes to breastfeeding? What possible solutions we can offer? Again, to speak to the support. Are those things we can talk to after we come back from the break?
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to pause and take a short break. Always glad for this continued partnership with the Health Services Authority. And if you're an expectant mother, if you're expecting that one day, I would love to join the ranks of the greatest order of ever, motherhood. And this can be of value to you. Please stay tuned. You may learn something that is life-changing. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Tune in Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. for the Daily Sports Report, covering local, regional, and international sports. Proudly brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. 89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks to the Health Services Authority for their invaluable team and for sharing with us some of the expertise. As we talk specifically now in this segment about World Breastfeeding Week, midwife Ms. Carl together with Nurse Renee from the NICU. I'm hoping that as we're into this particular era in human history, that what should be, and if I'm not saying this correctly, you will let me know, in natural, encourage, nurture the thing amongst our mothers, that we as a wider society do all we can to not only accommodate, but promote the acceptance and the accommodation, so that our nursing moms know, hey, we got you. You do what you need. We provide a safe, clean space that you can get as much support and privacy that you need. Easier said than done, sometimes because of logistics, but if we are at least loving and genuinely offer a smile and a helping hand, it might make that sort of timing much easier. But I was asking, are there particular commonalities, common challenges that nursing mothers may have with breastfeeding as they try? And is it, at some point, that it's easier the second, third, fourth time around? Or it could be, you had it easy the first time with child 1, but with child 2 is different. So maybe we can talk about any common problems.
Yes, absolutely. There are a few things that can, make the journey a little bit less desirable than mom would want it to be. And I would just start with the issue of low milk supply. Sometimes I think it's perceived. I want to go off and say sometimes moms are more doubtful of their body's ability to feed their babies. And so, at the least little thing, they might say, okay, it's not working, and give up. But sometimes I think with good support, then that doubt that she has, she'll feel less of it and be more willing to feed baby. Some moms run up into the issue of having a sore nipple, which usually it has to do with how baby is positioned onto the breast, or if she's pumping, maybe her flange size is too small. And all of those are, like you said, logistics. If she gets the right support, she can fix those. Other problems with baby that can also cause issues with breastfeeding. Baby might have a tongue tie, any neurological issues that may cause baby to have a low tone, making getting a latch more difficult. Those are some things that can really cause the breastfeeding journey to be a little bit more challenging. But with the right support, it can be done.
Right. And as you said, I'm thinking this is where that support from, again, I use the experienced mom. You tell me if that's correct. Can help that new mom how to latch on. There is a technique with anything. Your father probably show you. This is how you clean the fish. You hold the knife this way. Until you learn that, you don't know. So that experienced mom can say to the new mom, make sure the child latches on. This is how you do, and then again, the support that we come, Ms. Carl, is very helpful.
Yes, I think the other thing we've got to realise is that yes, the mum and the dad, and they may have read the book, but the baby hasn't. So sometimes the babies have got to learn as well. So it takes time and it takes patience, and we've got to be aware that it's not supply and demand. It's not just sort of sat there waiting to go sort of thing. It's the other way around.
It's not a fountain, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It's not 2 milk jugs. So
thank you.
Yeah. So it's demand and supply. So the more times you put the baby to the breast, the more you're going to make. And I think the other thing that everyone needs to be aware of is they say, breastfed babies, they're up all night, they're feeding all night. So a couple of things to bear in mind. A newborn's stomach is only about the size of a marble. So that's tiny. So it's going to the babies are going to have to feed little and often because their stomachs can't take much more. And also women produce more hormones at night, so therefore they produce more milk at night. A lot of babies are born at night because the hormones are higher, and according to my university lecturer many years ago, it's because of your animal instincts. So animals in the wild, you have your babies at night to keep them safe. And so it's like if a cat has kittens, it'll go in the dark and have the babies, and then the kittens will feed at night. They get it. It's all our sort of animal, and if you think about it, it makes sense. So that's why your baby is awake a lot at night. So that it fine tunes with the mum.
Okay. Well, thanks for clarifying that, because I thought it was because they're born at night because they're conceived, but it's
yeah.
That's my best joke for the day. Oh, but and I'm hoping that through a little bit of laughter, that people will see that we're in this together, and as the partner, we can support the breastfeeding mom, right? That's Renee. But let me then ask, there are some moms who would say, well, they don't know if they're producing enough milk. We understand the demand and supply, and with many things, there may be some sort of, no pun intended, formula that you can say, well, if I have 5 cups of this, then therefore I must have used enough to make it. Are there any sort of either rules of thumb or little anecdotes or even tested, sort of evidence-based things that if I have this, then therefore the child must be getting enough and not producing enough milk? Any of those things exist?
Sorry, let me just...
Yeah. You want me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ms. Carl.
Okay. So the best indication your baby's getting enough milk is the baby. So if the baby is... it's going to sleep, it's having wet and dirty nappies, it seems content, that's better than, and that's the best thing. And babies will have small feeds and they'll have longer feeds. It's like yourself, you might have, in the UK we eat less at breakfast, and as the day goes on we eat more and more and more. So you'd expect babies to do, they will have long feeds, because some feeds are more for a drink, as you could say, and other feeds are to fill them up because they're hungry. So they will do different things at different times, and you get used to your baby. But as I say, the best thing, I know it's very tempting to think, oh, well, actually, I can't see how much the baby's having, but your baby will show by their behaviour if they're having enough.
Absolutely, Nurse Carol. And there are points during the baby's after birth when they will feed more frequently. Doesn't mean that mommy's having a low supply. They're what we used to call growth spurts. It occurs, at the 3-month mark, 6 months, 9 months, and your baby wants to feed constantly because baby is exactly what it says, having a growth spurt, and to meet that demand, then the baby will want to eat more. And around that time, sometimes moms will sort of want to doubt their milk supply. Also, in addition to what Nurse Carol said, it was just to know how many wet nappies or dirty nappies you're getting from your baby. And that will also be an indication as to if your baby is being adequately fed. So we'd normally say, based on how old your baby is, then that's the amount of wet or dirty nappies you're meant to expect.
Okay. Good rule of thumb. There are some moms who want to ensure, from safety and other reasons, that they are awake while the child is nursing. I'll use that word if that's still not a word that older folks would know, like myself. And then there are some moms who would, say no, never let the child fall asleep while nursing for different reasons. And the mom would say, "Yeah, Trina, I'm so tired. I'm just glad to get that 5." Any particular thoughts on that?
Yes, so I'll take that one. The hormone that has to do with breast milk really does put both mom and baby to sleep, contrary to what we want to say or want to think.
Exactly.
Mommy will get sleepy, baby will get sleepy, and it's okay to breastfeed your baby to sleep. Like, you are your baby's comfort. Your baby will breastfeed because it's hungry, it's cold, it's in pain, it's tired, it just wants a cuddle. And I feel like we've just gone in society, we're just saying, oh, your baby's using as a pacifier, oh, your baby. It could be our fast way of life, and we just want baby to feed and we put it down and we'll get on with our day. But your baby wants to do more than just feed for a full tummy. Yeah,
it's that bonding that for both of you.
Yes.
And thanks for doing that. And I think this is where that support comes in. But the education, I like the theme, educate and support. And so once we do that, we get the appreciation that what happens. As we go into the break, though, can we also ask, as we talk about milk supply and production, either in improving things or any sort of anecdotes from past? Hey, if you do this, good fish dinner will help your breast milk. Are there particular things that are proven or people swear by, as it were?
Yes, there are a few things that mom could do to sort of help the milk supply.
Yeah. If you wish to, yeah.
Sure.
Thanks.
So the first thing is once your baby comes out, try to get that golden hour is what we call it. The first hour after baby is born, do some skin-to-skin time. The baby can identify the breast based on the smell of the amniotic fluid. They want to move to the breast and try to latch on all by themselves. Some babies may be a little bit more hesitant, but if that's the case, we encourage mom to hand express, and I do believe every mom should know or learn how to hand express their milk so that they can always spoon feed that to their baby if they're having any troubles in the beginning. Breast massage, breast shakes are some of the things I recommend. You want to stimulate so that you get the blood flowing and your milk to come down. Also warmth, moist heat, whether a wet rag or we have these manufactured warm packs and mommy can put on the breast just before mom goes to either nurse or pump. Those are some of the things that she could use.
All right. And thanks, because I think sometimes, and I hope for the people that are listening, experience mums in particular, but that expectant mother or that individual who say at some point, this may help them. They put it in their mindset, so as the world, evolves for them, that they don't dismiss this. They may have heard their grandmothers talk about it. They may have gone through an era where, no, we're not doing this. We're too advanced and civilized for that. All to realize that, this is probably one of the best things, but they did not know nor appreciate. So after the break, can we ask a couple of other questions? And with the greatest of respect, hopefully I do it properly. There may be some who think, breast size matters. The particular woman, her her athleticism and stuff. Are there things that we could help, whether they're myths that we can dispel, there are things that we can confirm so people can appreciate? Would that be okay?
Yes.
All right. Hey, thank you very much. I'm taking notes. Hope there's no exam.
Okay.
Right. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Let's spread the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The Family Resource Center is hosting the Triple P Teen Course for parents or caregivers who are worried about their teens' behavioral problems, kicking off tomorrow at 6 p.m. You can call the FRC on 949-0006 or email frc@gov.ky to register for this free program. At least 8 people have died and 14 have been injured as flooding caused by torrential rain hit parts of South Korea's capital, Seoul. Heavy downpours on Monday night submerged roads, flooded metro stations, and caused blackouts across the city and neighboring provinces. Some areas received the highest rate of rainfall in 80 years. Weather officials said the rain is likely to continue over several days. And the local head of the Palestinian militant group Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade has been killed in an Israeli operation in the occupied West Bank. Ibrahim al-Nabulsi and 2 other people were killed during the raid on a house in the city of Nablus. At least 40 people were injured. The brigades is a network of militias linked to Fatah, the Palestinian movement which controls the West Bank. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
We wanna go and dally, Bacayard.
Bacayard, Caymanian and Jamaican cuisine. 7 Mile Beach might have changed, but Bacayard is bringing it back. True Caribbean food in the heart of 7 Mile, just like Mama's home cooking. Brown stew snapper, Cayman-style beef, jerk chicken, turtle stew, and the delicious list goes on. Dine in, take out, or order with the Bento app. Bacayard, Caymanian and Jamaican cuisine, 269 West Bay Road, or call 746-4603. Bacayard, daily lunch specials, and the one-of-a-kind Fun Day Sunday brunch.
Bacayard.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome, Mike, and thanks for joining us. And I'm very grateful that the Health Services Authority would allow us to, almost on a very regular, certainly weekly basis, have these discussions. We talk about World Breastfeeding Week. I think I wrote down the theme, Step Up for Breastfeeding, Educate and Support. Yeah, that's Carl and that's Renee. Thanks very much. I was asking, though, just before the break, and I'll ask you publicly to ensure that my questions and comments are as, not only respectful but appropriate, so that it helps to educate and support. Breast size. We've had these discussions in the past, and some women have expressed, no pun intended, or their breast size is so small, and this. Are those issues? Are those myths?
Yeah, I would say it is a myth. Well, it is a myth. Not that I would say.
Well, you can say it all the same too. It is a myth.
Yes. Breast size does not impact how much milk a mom will be able to produce. So what I will say, though, a mom with a smaller breast cup, her baby will feed more frequently because of capacity. So bigger breasts will have more capacity, smaller breasts will have less capacity. So her baby might want to feed more frequently than a mom that has a larger cup size. Okay. But generally, overall, it doesn't mean that your milk supply will be low or you would not have enough milk to feed your baby.
On that, could we ask then, is it then that, and for those who understand the biology, just bear with me, then the milk is in the breast, it's not like other organs where it's stored somewhere else and then, filtered down through the piping system. The milk is in the breast.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's in the breast. It's not in the nipple.
Okay.
Just think of the nipple as a straw, but it's towards the back, and you need to get back there in order to get your milk out.
All right. And then I wrote down the word engorge is a word I've heard. So what is that, and is that an issue? How do you address it? Since the milk is in, well, sorry, I don't breastfeed.
Whatever not.
Too much hair, I think. That must be the problem.
Yes, some women can experience engorgement, and it just has to do with infrequent removal of milk, or it could also be from overstimulation of the breast as well. And you wonder, can you overstimulate the breast? Yes, you can. And that can be done through pumping. There's some types of pumps that are out there on the market that we caution moms against, because if you, like I said, overstimulate your milk production, then you'll be having more than your baby needs or even you would need. And if you're not removing it frequently enough, then you will have engorgement. Engorgement makes it a little bit more difficult for your baby to latch, because when the breast is engorged, your nipple pretty much disappears, and so there's nothing there really for your baby to latch onto. And there are ways that we can deal with that, but yeah.
Okay. And so with that, then we talked about some of the benefits, and maybe we could ask you, are there benefits just for mom, for baby, for both? What are some of them? And as I asked that, I'm thinking back to the engorge. Biologically, if you have this production, you don't, get rid of it, there's an issue. So maybe there's a reason why, we want to be able to ensure that there's effective breastfeeding to assist. But benefits, what are some of the benefits to breastfeeding?
So some of the benefits that we would talk about is mainly for, I'll talk about for the babies, I'll pick up for the mom.
Okay, good team.
So breastfed babies often have less incidence of what we call ear infections, diarrheal diseases, respiratory infections, atopic dermatitis. Breastfed babies do get that protection from being breastfed, and so the studies have shown that they come out with less of these conditions.
And we understand too, even cognitive, their intellect and all sorts of things that presumably, benefiting from the breastfeed versus the non-breastfeed. Sounds like a win, for the child.
Absolutely.
And for the dad too. I don't need to buy breast milk. It's free. Just saying it for my friends who are like me, economically conscious.
Exactly.
What about for the mom?
Okay, so for the mums, there's less. It's been less likely to get breast cancer. It's been linked with less likely to be obese and less likely to get diabetes if you breastfeed. And obviously, the bonding with the baby, which is good for mum and baby. And we know that it lowers the blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure, it's quite a good thing to do, because then we can literally see the numbers. You can have the baby feeding well on the breast, do the woman's blood pressure, and you can see it's gone down because of the release of those hormones. Another, not a mum reason, but a baby reason, there has been some research done which believes that children that are breastfed are less likely to be fussy eaters. So formula is always going to taste the same, okay? Because you're going to make it out the same, by the same brand or whatever. It's always going to taste the same. However, breastfed babies, depending on what the mother eats, essentially the breast milk is going to differ. So therefore, babies get used to different tastes. So yeah, it just makes sense.
So with that in mind, I mean, if you want to give your child a little bit of chocolate, just eat some chocolate and you get some chocolate.
Just a thought.
I'm thinking so. So all you mums out there, no, listen, speak to your midwives and the nurses. So oh, come on, Nurse Renee, that's not a bad attempt at a humour.
No, it wasn't.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's a good point that Nurse Carol brought out. The babies do get the flavors from mom's milk. Garlic is just one of those potent. What I would say though, if you do find your baby just showing behaving differently, could be that's something you ate, but generally we don't say you need to stick to a particular diet when breastfeeding. Eat whatever you want, and for the same reason Nurse Carl mentioned, your baby will get exposed to different sorts of flavors, and baby will be more likely less picky to eat.
And I hadn't really, well, if we could, we could maybe expound that. You as a mom, you're eating and enjoying, you're getting your sustenance, you need your energy, you want to make sure you're healthy. And then you introduce your child to some good flavors. I joke about chocolate, but it may be fish, it may be the garlic, you add a little ginger to it, a little curry, as you put it in. But would it be then if this thing makes you feel a certain way as you eat it, maybe a little bit spicy, could it then not only the taste to the child, but also the child could similar experience that's a little bit spicy. Ooh.
Yeah, I know many years ago when I was a student, it was Christmas time, and in the UK at Christmas we eat a lot of Brussels sprouts. And one of our mums had a lot of Brussels sprouts. Then her baby had really like colicky and upset stomach, wasn't settling, and was saying, she said, I've not changed. Then she suddenly remembered that she had all these Brussels sprouts, so it was affecting her child. So we're not saying don't eat Brussels sprouts, but we're just saying, if your baby's behaviour does change, you might think, oh yeah, that's because I had so-and-so. So it's being aware of it, really.
Yeah, exactly. Makes sense, right? I mean, we know that in different ways, but I'm glad you shared that, because maybe some moms, they have this particular treat they at maybe Christmas or a particular time, without realizing, this could be affecting the child. Maybe the child is staying awake and is more restless. Maybe the child is more animated. Maybe the child is like, this is making me sleep. And you want to give the child some more. No. So that can...
It's tempting, isn't it, maybe?
That's Carl. But that's good to know, because it's your body, you're putting this thing in, and then it's going. That will probably leads us to obviously recognize that, be careful what else we're consuming, and how that could be affecting your child, not just indirectly, in a very direct way as well.
Yes, certainly.
Right. Well, as we speak on World Breastfeeding Week, what are some of the other sort of things that you want to make sure that nursing mums appreciate? And I would hope that they feel encouraged and not give up, and even if they're struggling with latching on, or they're exhausted, and there's that inconvenience, so to speak, because of they don't have to balance the rest of the household. They have their careers, they have their clients, they're working, and they have to do all these things. And that's really.
I would start by saying, try to set yourself up for success. If you're pregnant and you have the desire to breastfeed, work with a practitioner, whether the OBGYN, your pediatrician, someone who supports breastfeeding. Also know where to find the support. As Carl mentioned, that there is a breastfeeding support group, and the HSA does offer the Parent Craft classes. So go to your parent craft classes so that you could be more aware of what to expect when the baby comes, so you're not taken by surprise. And if you do go home with the baby and you need a little bit more support, you know where to go, know who to call. It's good to just have an easy access to someone that can provide you with some assistance. Also, in your own personal space, build a tribe, build your support team. Know who's going to be there for you with the baby. Is it going to be your dad? Is it going to be your mom? Is it going to be another mom who's had a baby before, or other moms who are going through the same journey that you're going through? I normally say try to set yourself up for success.
We have a question from one of our listeners asking, just generally, how do I know that my baby is hungry? And in what they wrote, they're saying she's been told, I feed it every X hours. She gave a timeline, but sometimes I go to feed and the child doesn't want it, and then sometimes I just fed you, 2 minutes ago. How do you know when the child is hungry, and how do you know when the child has had enough?
I would say you need to look for the feeding cue. So babies tend to, we call it rooting. So they sort of look for food. They're sort of they're looking around. They're sort of almost like making sort of with their mouth, like looking for it.
Rooting, yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of like a rooting instinct. And when they've got to the stage where they're properly crying, you've probably missed the boat a little bit. So you need to get them at the rooting stage. So on the other hand of that, years ago, it was like, feed your baby every so many hours. Well, that is the equivalent in the middle of the night, me waking you up and making you eat a sandwich or a burger. You can't make, they have to be hungry to feed. You cannot make them feed. We would say, obviously, don't leave them too long, but it's no good saying, right, I'm going to feed my baby 3 hours. We know that babies feed when they're first newborn about 8 to 10 times in a day. So that's about normal. But it might be an hour and then they feed again the next hour. And then they might go, say, 3 hours or whatever. So it's learning your baby's cues and going from there, really.
So like your breast milk is specifically to your child.
Yes.
Your child's feeding routine specific to you and your child.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's take the final break. When we come back, we invite you to share anything new, recap anything that we've spoken about. And I'm really appreciative and I'm hopeful that in this discussion, the nursing moms would feel supported. Those who are struggling would feel encouraged. Those who are contemplating would say, you know what, it's worth it. And if Johan Moxon, would allow us, take a page from his book. It makes good economic sense, You're not being cheap, you're just being prudent. All right, stay tuned, and we invite you to be a part of the discussion.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Puritan Cleaners.
Puritan Cleaners, now using the most popular and eco-friendly cleaning solvents. 2 convenient locations to serve you: Savannah Countryside and Eastern Avenue, Georgetown. Drive-through, rain or shine, free pickup and delivery services available. Call Puritan Cleaners, 949-7104. Also ask about our in-house discounts. Puritan Cleaners, you feel good when you look good.
Puritan Cleaners, 949-7104. That's 949-7104.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020. To celebrate Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, you are invited to plant a tree for the Jubilee. We need you, yes you, to leave your green mark on our Cayman Islands. Perhaps a mango tree, a little guinea, or mahogany. Register your tree and leave your green print at www.gov.ky/National Tree Planting or follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Plant a tree for the Jubilee. Proudly brought to you by the Cayman Islands Government, Ministry for Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. Let's green Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and thanks too to Nurse Carl and Nurse Renee for sharing with us. And I'm prayerful that our discussion on breastfeeding as we celebrate World Breastfeeding Week this week may cause more of us in our society to step back. Are we employers and co-workers? Are we businesses that, with great respect, let's say restaurant and retail, where our patrons come in, can we accommodate them while they're there? And just as a general society, how supportive and consciously respectful we are to ensure that the mom who is breastfeeding isn't relegated to the restroom or to the broom closet or, somewhere at the back where she feels like she's in timeout and being punished. That's changing. Maybe there's more we can do. Right, Nurse Renee?
I'd want to say there's more we can do, and that's why we're still educating. But policies are also something that we'll have to look at as well. Get those policies out there that will support the breastfeeding families. There are also disparities in breastfeeding that needs to be addressed, and it's not just for one set, it's for everybody. Those are some of the things we'll have to look at. Getting more persons involved in the conversation, getting moms the breast pump that she needs to get the milk so she could feed her baby, that could come through her insurance. Getting coverage for breastfeeding support also is something else that we could look at.
Can we ask a question? We understand the benefits of the physical bond, that contact. But for whatever reason, or if it's a shared thing between the child physically at the breast or the mom, expressing, was the phrase I used to know, pumping, having it readily available for someone or at another convenient time. Is there any difference other than the physical bond of having the milk given to the child via the breast, I could say the straw, or giving it through some of the mechanical feeding mechanism? It's the same milk from the same mom to the same babe, but in a different medium. Ooh, tough question. So in 5 words or less, please answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I will say it's the same. Some moms choose to exclusively breastfeed, no pumping, no bottles. Some moms will do a combination of pumping and breastfeeding, or they'll exclusively pump and just feed baby the breast milk. I would say it's really her choice. If she wants to exclusively pump, then that's up to her.
Okay. Can we ask, and if moms probably know this, but the mom has, again, maybe lots of supply, maybe it's the timing. She's pumped her milk, she's stored it properly. 2 questions: fridge or freezer, and if so, how long?
So I normally tell my moms the 5 rule. So if you've freshly expressed your milk, it's 5 hours at room temperature on your counter. 5 days in your refrigerator, in the back of the refrigerator, not in the door. And 5 to 6 months in your deep freeze. Your milk can stay, but try to get your baby fed with your milk and not the freezer. So something I'll always remind them. There's always this comparison where you're looking at someone else's refrigerator and be like, oh, I'm not there yet, but your milk is really for your baby and not for the fridge.
All right, and label it, date and time. Not also so you know, but doesn't get mixed up. Oh, this is the creamer? No, it's not. Again, another attempt at a joke.
Yeah, but also the first in, first out practice is what we want you to bear in mind. So if you have it labeled and date and time that's on it, so then you know what went in at what time and which ones you need to use first.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, you just never know, and have that supply for whatever may transpire. And all right, not a bad question. In closing, as we get near the end of our discussion, we're seeing increasingly more and more of our society starting to appreciate the importance. It's built-in regular supply of absolutely probably the most nutritious meal the child will get during those formative feeding times. The economics of it makes sense. I don't wish to downplay that. I think you guys shared a statistic with us that is in the billions, hundreds of billions of dollars that can be saved by breastfeeding. I don't know about anybody else, but even to me, that's a couple of dollars as well. So there is that tangible benefit, financial benefit. Imagine the families that are struggling now, having to buy, and it can be expensive. So if you have this, you don't need the pump, you don't need, to get up and mix a bottle and warm it and make sure that it's at the right temperature. It's always good.
It's always
It's not spoiled. It's right there.
Quite convenient.
Yeah. Imagine that. Made a real meals.
The original fast food.
What do you say? I mean, it brings so much comfort.
Yeah.
And I've seen, she said to me, don't say my name publicly, but there was a mom that I, many children, and her ability to breastfeed and do other things, or to just exclusive feed, so that she spent that time. But if it was necessary, tending to child 2 or 3 or 4, while she's cooking, ironing, washing, and driving, sometimes she would joke and say, well, trying to feed and just throw it in the back there while she's driving. She was so encouraging to the younger moms that, hey, listen, it can be done. It's difficult sometimes for you. You're exhausted. But look, it can be done. If I did it, it can be done. That's what we need with the support.
Yes.
Amazing. I can see some moms thinking after we had this discussion, could we introduce that, a little meal that I want my child to enjoy, a little bit more garlic flavored, turmeric infused, breast milk. I mean, why not? You can get it on the go. But it's important. All right. Any sort of other thoughts we might want to leave with our listeners? And again, thank you so much for sharing with us and for coming on board. I'm prayerful that those who are listening, especially our moms, but if I might, their partners would draw alongside and say, hey, we can do this. I mean, you got the heavy lifting, but there's things that, we can do to support you. Let's wash up the stuff. Let's give you a minute and maybe, I don't know, a foot massage. Yeah, there are things we can do, and, it's going to be worth it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's just that support. There are pre-existing conditions that moms might encounter during the pregnancy that might put a little bit of struggle, but that's a discussion they could have with their OBGYN. Otherwise, it's just knowing what you want from the get-go, going out to get the information, getting the support, and doing your part. Because just like Nurse Carol said, your breasts aren't just full with milk waiting for you to just give it to your baby. You have to demand it from your body, and your body will regulate the supply based on what you're asking it to do. And so your breast milk will be available based on how much milk you remove, how often you put your baby to the breast, and that sort of a thing. Also, if you know you're going to go back to work, you need to make preparation for that as well, whether you're going to introduce somebody to the baby or figure out how it is when you get back to work, how you're going to be pumping your milk. Those are some things that you need to be looking forward to as well.
Okay. You know what? That support will help us there not only encourage but perhaps extend the duration of the breastfeeding. That's Carl. Any sort of final thoughts on today's discussion?
I think it's just to be remembered that actually it is starting your baby with the best start, because that milk is for your baby and only you can give it. So yeah, I mean, all those health benefits for you and your baby. Give it a go, and don't put up too many hurdles in your mind, and hopefully get some support from other people so you get there really.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks very much. And I know we mentioned the financial and economic benefits, but what was, I think, readily identified, but let me emphasize, the health of mom and babe. You know, the lives that can be saved by breastfeeding, the perhaps incidence of additional illnesses could be significantly reduced because of the benefits from breastfeeding. The cognitive and behavioral things that accrue in a positive way because of breastfeeding. And I will invite our listeners to come to the HSA, reach out to the support groups, ask their midwives and their nurses. You guys in the maternity and NICU units do a phenomenal job. Thanks so much. Makes you almost want to breastfeed if you could. Well, may I invite you to have an excellent week. Thank you. May this day be not just positive and productive, but may you position you as you go about and engage with the rest of the populace to have that smile, so that we see that there is a sense of love and support that nurtures us also. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, tomorrow is Wednesday, and that means for some it's an extra serving of turtle, for others it's a piece of cassava cake, and for some it's just another day to give thanks. Prayerfully we'll be a part of it. Please, join me start in the morning for the record. Come back for talk today, right after the midday news and midday meditation. I thank you so much for your continued support, and as we look at our communities, let's find ways to draw alongside each other so we can, show that agape love. Until then, my friends, be blessed. Have a wonderful afternoon, and thanks to Miss Susan. So tomorrow it is.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Six years.
3 beloved isles.
1 beloved station, Radio